high school?
Yeah. All right. High school. In high school, I was just kind of a shell of myself, like probably a lot of us are in high school. I didn't really know who I was yet. I didn't really feel like I especially fit in anywhere or yeah, just a young guy figuring himself out. But I had this passion. See, this is why like when I saw your values and like passion and purpose and peace, like these are super important to me. And the piece with passion
Mm,
started back in high school and before that with football. So playing football was my passion as a kid, just in the backyard, in the field with my friends. And I was really good. Like I could say that honestly about myself. I would pretend I was Barry Sanders, my favorite running back of all time, super fast, scoring lots of touchdowns. Like that was my
mm,
joy. If I could do anything when I wanted to grow up, I would become a professional football player. So when I got to high school, I decided to go out for the team, and it was a lot of my parents. They were scared I was going to get hurt, so I had to beg and plead. And then when they said, okay, you start at freshman football, you got to work your way up. So essentially, it took me till senior year to work my way up to the starting lineup. I was on the practice squad, but I was doing well on there. I was running by a lot of the starters, and finally, when they put me in high school in senior year, they say, here's your shot. Rosenberg gets the start. I said, my dream is finally coming true. My dream was to catch a touchdown under Friday night lights and hear the crowd go crazy. It's all I would dream about. And when I got out there in the games, essentially the moment got too big for me. And the passes that were thrown my way, I dropped. They would hit me in the hands, they would hit me in the chest, bounce off. And right under, the lights in front of the big crowd on Friday night, I would walk back to the sideline with my head down. My coaches would yell at me, and ultimately they bench me and replace me. And you could say that my high school career was over. It was short lived. So a lot of people, I feel like when we talk about traumas, especially when we're young, it's all relative. I always thought, well, I didn't have this like huge trauma that a lot of people have, like abuse and things like that. But for me,
mm,
this trauma ran so deep that it shut my heart down. I essentially felt like I
mm,
dropped the ball in my life. Like I had this huge, my
mm.
dream was right here. I was just about to reach it, and I let it slip through my fingers, and it took a real toll on me. I mean, I was locked up in my room crying. Like parents were worried about me. My heart shut down. Um, I just got so down on myself, so much pressure. And then from that point moving forward in my life, I feel like that's where like the lights went out, and passion went
Mm.
out the window. I had no idea what purpose was from there. And I just went on in my life, kind of going about life in the path that society kind of told me to take, right?
Like going through the
Going through the
motions.
motions, trying to figure out like what do I want to do when I grow up? What's my major? And then I just went into these jobs, high pressure sales environment jobs for like 2 decades that just burned me out. I was just putting all my self worth and goals in a system that
Mm.
really didn't resonate with me. But like that little guy inside that just loved to play football had disappeared.
Do you have a connection to that now?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. This has really been my life story. It's about passion and purpose coming full circle. And so I had to go through many years like working in a corporate environment, guessing like maybe if I get promoted, I'll be happy. Maybe if I make more money, but just always being really depressed, really burnt out. And what happened is I began to have a spiritual awakening, 2015, 16, and just a lot started to open up for me, and transformational trainings came into my life. New friends came into my life. I traveled for the first time to India. It was like everything all at once. I started working with medicinal psychedelic plants, mushrooms, things like that. My mind began to open, and so what happened is like I started jumping into modalities like energy work and meditation and breath work. I noticed that everything that I was jumping into on the side was like rising, and it was pulling this passion out of me again. It essentially began to
Mm.
open my heart, And so I was building this one world in myself while I was existing in this other world of like the corporate job. And this one started to kind of raise above it. And I was like, wow, I'm
Mm,
becoming really passionate again about my own journey, my own evolution. And,
yeah,
over time it came on full force. Now I'm all about passion. But one thing that I link back to, first of all, I had to do like a lot of healing. I had to heal that kid
yeah.
that just, had his dreams crushed. I got to go after a new dream. But now sometimes when I want to like link into passion, I think about myself on that football field as like a kid, even before high school, as like the 10-year-old running around who can't be stopped. The greatest feeling in the world is to hold a football, catch a football, and I bring that feeling and that excitement to what I'm doing now.
Why do you think you had so much pressure as a young high school kid to succeed during that game?
Yeah, good question. It was self-created pressure, I would say. It's funny, man. I went to a high school football game the other night, and I look back on it, and I was like, this doesn't even
Like,
this doesn't even seem
yeah,
so pressure. Like these guys are
yeah,
small. Like I could crush it if I was out there now, but at the time, like the stage I was on felt bigger than life, and so it was just
mm,
my first exposure to something so big, to even a dream. I never had a dream before that. That it was like I better not mess up. I better not mess up. Because the thing I
mm,
made so important was so important that I couldn't see any other option of it not happening. And compared to everything else going on around it, it was the only thing that excited me. So I was like, I better not mess this up. I better make this come true.
and then afterwards, you said you kind of just lost a piece of yourself. So how did you even decide to get into like corporate and stuff? Were you just following the script of life or
Yeah,
what?
man. Everything was a guess. I was just throwing stuff
Mm,
against the wall, seeing what stuck, taking shots in the dark. Essentially, after college, like I went through high school, college, not knowing what I wanted to do after that. I went out to Los Angeles for 2 years to work in the entertainment business to try to be like an assistant to a talent agent because I secretly in my mind wanted to be an actor, but I didn't tell anyone that. So I said if I could get close enough, because a friend was doing it, he put me onto it. So I was like, oh, that might be fun. I was
mm,
looking for something fun to do with my life. That ended up being a ton of pressure. So I got out of that.
mm,
A friend got me into sales. And then from LA, I had another friend in Florida. He's like, hey, why don't you come down here? The weather's warm. You like the Miami Dolphins football team anyway. Like, come spend some time here. So I went there and I didn't know what else to apply for. Like, I majored in
mm,
English with a concentration in journalism, wanted nothing to do with that. So I said, like, I was like, what could I do without a specific major? And it was sales. A lot of people go into
mm,
sales when they don't know what they want to do. The earning potential is unlimited, and so it was just a guess. And then
mm,
once I was in sales, I just never saw another avenue out because I always thought I had to study and graduate with a specific set of skills to be welcomed into anything else. So I was like, well, I'll just
mm.
stay where I am and keep trying to do better.
And you did that for 20 years, you said?
11 years. Yeah, 11 years
Oh,
plus
11
plus
years.
the LA stuff was like 15 years. Yeah, I say like 2 decades because I even throw a little college in. It's just like the next 2 decades of my
Oh,
life.
so basically it took you like 2 decades to find yourself
Yeah.
again,
Yeah,
kind of.
exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
That makes
Yeah.
sense. So what happened in 2016 then? You said you had this spiritual awakening. Like what happened for you to have that awakening?
Yeah, well, it happened gradually over many years, a little bit at a time. But
Mm,
yeah, in 2016, something started. I remember it was the 3 year anniversary at my corporate job, and I was having like a tough day,
mm,
man. Like I was in B2B sales, so I'm knocking on 50 to 70 doors a day, getting
You were door
Door
knocking.
knocking, cold calling, like generating all my own
That's
leads.
the I hate that. I absolutely hate that. Those are like the worst for me personally. That's like the worst job I
Have
could
you
have. Like I'd rather like gravel crap or something than like,
have you done it? Have you ever done sales or knocked on?
yeah, I was a real estate agent for a year. I gave myself a year to try to sell real estate, and I was doing that. I was cold calling, door knocking. It's just I could not find passion in it. Like I could not. Like I think the thing that was driving me was just money. It was like, okay, if I can make a sale, because out here in Austin, Texas, you make one sale, it's like 15, 20 grand. Like if you make one sale of a house. So I was like, man, if I could just make one sale, and that was driving me, but that's not enough to drive me. To drive me, I have to have more purpose and passion. That's why I created this podcast. So it was like I was getting burnt out from just from the motions of trying to cold call, cold DM, email, marketing, and yeah.
I feel you, man. I feel you. But I kudos to you for getting out earlier. I stayed in it for
uh,
11 years. And if I could do anything different, it'd be don't stay there that long. But I feel you. Like when you did get a sale, did you feel any sort of satisfaction?
it really, it was just like, okay, this could work, but I can't see myself doing this for a prolonged period of time. That's what I kept asking myself. Like, can I see myself doing this for a prolonged period of time? And that question that I kept asking myself was the answer was no.
Yeah.
And then I kept asking myself that and trying to find that, and that's also what kind of led me into podcasting because this was only last year where I gave up real estate and started podcasting. And like I was saying in the beginning before, podcasting was nerve wracking in the beginning, but I started to kind of fall in love with it because it was like you could connect with people, and then it gets my creative side out because I actually like creating content and editing and connecting with other creators. So yeah, I could like I asked the same question, can I do this for a prolonged period of time? And the answer is yeah, I could do this until I fucking die.
Yeah.
Shit.
No, nobody's kicking you off either, right? They're like, "No, we don't want that today." You know?
hmm hmm
That's
It's all self-driven.
yeah. Yeah. I feel you, man. Congratulations on finding this, man. It's so important. Um,
hmm
yeah, I just, I had asked myself those questions too, and I knew that I couldn't do it for a long time, but it became more like because I didn't see any other options, I just didn't move. And I was having this like horrible day on that day back when 2016, and basically I was selling rental services to a restaurant, and it was an Indian restaurant. And I went in there, and like what started as a sale, I was pissed off. She sat me in the corner. She's like, "I can't see you yet. There's construction workers." I'm like, "Man, she's not paying attention to me."
You had to
I had to
wait.
wait. I'm like, "I'm
Yeah.
about to leave. I'm being disrespected." And she called me over, and once we got into the conversation, I felt this like energy hook into me, like a warmth,
Mm.
and I was like, "Whoa, like what is this?" And then she started
hmm
asking me about like India, and I started asking her, and I said, "How do you know if you're supposed to go?" And she goes, "You go when you're called." And she said, "You already have been." And I was like, "Whoa!" And it blew my mind. And I had a friend that just bailed on me on a trip we were supposed to go on to Thailand, and I never been on a major
uh,
trip before, so I decided to go to India on my own with no hotel reservation and just a backpack, and I went for 10 days because that's all I could get off from my corporate job. But I feel like that opened everything and planted the travel bug within me. It was a wild 10 days.
what happened during that 10 days? Man?
Man, I was so confident. I was like, all right, I'm gonna go to India for 10 days and I'm gonna play like survival and wing it. nothing planned, and I just wasn't ready for the culture shock. You ever been
Oh
to
yeah.
India?
I never, but I do like I like there's a bucket list thing for me. I want to go to one of those ashram temples and do a 30-day detox from life and just do like the whole it's kind of like a monk retreat where you like basically become a monk for like 30 days and you give up all your possessions and you basically live in an ashram for 30 days and um, give away like all your technology and just live how they live. I want to do that.
Wow, those are really powerful experiences. They really are.
Yeah, because it's like 30 days, but you're completely detached from the pressures of life, and you're just uh like there's this beautiful saying where it's like you don't have to earn a living, you just live. Like
Oh,
every day you wake up, you don't have to earn your right to wake up every day to live. You just live. You wake up and you live.
that is gold. I love that. I love that,
So,
man. I might borrow that one. Wow. Oh my God, I might have to because it's like, yeah, I heard someone else say like that humans are the only beings in the universe that have to pay to live on their planet,
mm,
like pay rent,
mm.
pay mortgages to actually live.
Yeah, that's the crazy world we live in today.
Yeah, that just hit home so much for me when you said that because I'm reflecting on all these years in the corporate grind. And it's essentially conditions you to believe like I have to constantly be producing and earning my
Hmm.
keep to even stay on board. Like I'll get fired if I don't sell. I have
To
to
survive,
survive.
yeah.
And every day it's like I heard something else recently that a mentor of mine, Nick told me. He said, your purpose needs to be greater than your pain. And when you have a purpose for whatever you do, it pulls you forward rather than waking up and having to push yourself forward in something
Hmm.
that you really don't want. And I was like pushing
Hmm.
for so many years to earn my way to exist. And here we are talking about purpose, like that's more passion oriented, like something to get excited about that pulls you to your podcast every day to put those headphones on to
Hmm.
talk to people. Yeah, man. Wow.
Yeah, that's why I made it my mission. Like the podcast mission is it's also to just have fun like while I'm doing it, you know? Like so I alleviate the pressure on myself because I don't have any expectations like going into a conversation really. I just want to connect and speak deep with somebody and hear their story and hopefully it could inspire somebody to change positively in their life.
Yeah. Would you say that play is like fun and play is a value for you in what you do?
Mhm.
Mm.
100%. Like I can't stand being too serious all the time. Like you have to not be so serious all the time. So yeah, I would 100% agree that it's important.
Yeah, the world is too damn serious, man. Way too serious. And I feel like it puts the shackles on. Like
Hmm.
seriousness for me is the opposite of creativity. It
Mm, yeah,
constricts,
yeah. It
confines,
limits.
limits, it shuts it
Yeah.
off. Yeah, yeah,
That's why I love creating and just making content as well as doing podcasting. So,
how did you get into, I'm just curious, like your interest in personal development, mindset, purpose? Was there something for you that triggered it?
just I kept asking myself questions like, what the hell do I want to do with my life? Like, and then also just being influenced by the possibilities of other people. Like, I was that, so I fell into the comparison trap when I was doing real estate for the year, I kept comparing myself to like the top realtors that have been doing it and were successful and making millions. But then I like I just I don't know, I couldn't keep up with it. So I think how I got into it all was just being inspired by other speakers and other podcasters that were kind of in the personal development world as well. And just, I don't even know. It's just like doing something with life that, like, I don't want to waste my life. I think that's what it is. Like, I want to do something meaningful that could help the world in a net positive way than just doing something
Yeah.
meaningless.
How old
I think that's the like root of it all.
how old are you? I'm just curious.
I just turned 30 last
Cool.
week.
Cool. Beautiful,
Yeah.
man. Beautiful. That's so special. I agree totally. And just I something you just said too about I couldn't keep up with it. The
Mm,
comparison game hit home for me too because especially on social media, like what do we do? Even I do it like as many times as I tell and train myself not to. If I'm even looking at someone who's in my world who's also into
mm,
personal development, spirituality, creating meaningful life, it's just easy to unconsciously look at where they're at and what they're doing and even be like, man, am I there yet? Do the measuring stick. And I feel like social
mm.
media just like opens this like it's like you open a door and wind comes through. It's like it's just like compare, 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 and you can't keep up with it. It's a never ending.
I think what's helped me is comparing in a way where like it's possible, seeing it as like an opportunity to grow because everybody starts from bottom unless you're like, I don't know, just given stuff. But for me it's like I can get to there instead of like how could I ever get there. I see it now as like that's a possibility that I could be like that successful as well.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I got a buddy who always says a little tool he uses is anytime something comes up and the inner critic, the inner self says like, I'm not sure, or
Mm-hmm.
starts to feel a little less than, he just says out loud, he says, I can do that. I can do that. I want to get there. I can do that. He reverses it real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And I've also found that like taking just a beginner's mindset is something that works for me. Like not to
Yeah.
be like, yo, Mike, you gotta be so much further than you are, because this is what I did in football, right? I had so much pressure. I should be so much bigger and better. But just like, yo, I'm a beginner in everything that I step into in a humbling way, still with the mindset of like, I can for sure do that and get there, but let's do it without the pressure or needing to be somewhere. Let's have fun and get there.
Yeah, it's because we put this expectation on ourselves that actually hinders our growth because we expect to be the best fast, like right away, especially because now we live in a instant gratifying world where we expect everything like right now. So this instant gratifying world is actually setting a lot of us apart because if like me and you, if we just stay consistent and even if we're a beginner for a year or two, most people give up after a year. So we're already surpassing a lot of people because it hinders their growth because they don't think of it as a beginner's mindset. They think of it, I have to be the best like tomorrow or yesterday.
Yeah. Have you ever experienced like when you get the thing or become whatever you want to become, or you get the immediate gratification? Like what
I
happens? What
just
happens then?
did I just did like last week. My goal for 2024 was to get 100 subscribers on YouTube by the 1 year mark of the podcast, because the 1 year mark will be December 15th, 2024. That was my goal for the year, just 100 subscribers on YouTube specifically. And I reached that last week, and it felt weird. It was like, okay, this is cool. Like, I got it. But then you get this demotivating like feeling as well, because it's like, okay, you reached your goal, like now what? That's why, to me, I try not to put so much expectations and pressures on the end goal. I put my expectations, and I make the goal of just doing the work and showing up every day, and not so focused on the end result, just so focused on how can I make an impact today? How can I take one step today instead of one step backwards today? And just doing that every single day.
And why is that important for you? Like, what's your payoff? I do that because.
Uh, I guess because it's meaningful to me, and I feel like it's connected with my overall mission.
Yeah, mission driven. I love it. Yeah, yeah, man. It's in the journey. It's in the journey. One of my mentors also says he's like it's not the goal that you're looking for or the thing like the job, the promotion, the car, the relationship. It's how it makes you feel that you crave. Like when I get there and I get this, I'm
Mm,
gonna feel this sense of whatever growth, completion. But
yeah, so fleeting.
exactly,
Like, it was exactly how I felt when it was a goal to reach 100 subscribers, and I reached it, and it was cool for the day, and then it's fleeting. It goes away. But to me, I think having a purpose and passion in the actual work that you're doing is way more important than these fleeting goals and
yeah.
feelings.
Did you learn anything from that moment? Like when you were like, "Oh, this is fleeting," and it's gone the next day.
Well, I kind of already like expected that, because like my next goal is 1,000 subscribers, but it's like I don't put so much uh, pressure and expectation on reaching it. I just do it. I just do what I do every day.
Yeah. Um, there's
Does
no,
that
it
make
makes sense.
sense?
Like I'm trying to think of this. There's this song that I love, and I'm trying to think of the name of it. It's by MC Yogi, and he's talking about
Mm.
like practice. He's talking about practice makes perfect. Practice makes perfect. He's like focus on the process. Uh, oh God, I'm not gonna say it right. It's essentially letting go of the outcome and
Is it
focusing
one
on
of
the.
those? Is it one of those like gym motivation
No,
songs?
he's like MC Yogi is like a super conscious
So let me
guy
see.
who is a rapper. But he makes like really like beautiful,
Oh, I see
nice
him.
music, but he's talking about like important, deep, meaningful stuff, and he's essentially talking about like
I'm gonna check
letting
him
go
out.
of the outcome. It's on his
Yeah.
newest album, and it's like
Back to one, or
yeah, I it could be that. I'll have to actually look up the name of the song, but it's I always put it on.
oh, Sound Patterns.
Yes.
That's his
And then
newest
the
album.
song has something with like practice in it. And it's just always a reminder for me to like let go of the pressure of where I'm trying to get to and focus on the reps.
Oh, practice makes
Practice makes
progress.
progress. Practice makes progress. Let go of the outcome. Focus on the process, I think is what he says. And I will play it in the gym, even though it's not necessarily like a rev up song. It's like a mid tone song.
Oh, I listen to everything in the
Yeah, me
gym.
too.
Like I listen to podcasts. Sometimes I listen to like chill house, lo-fi. Sometimes I listen to like heavy metal. Um, I listen to everything.
Cool.
Yeah, practice makes
Yeah.
progress.
Anytime I get in my head, I play that song and it brings me back to my center. Like, yo, just what's the next rep? What's the next step ahead? Like, there's that
Hmm.
saying about enlightenment, and it says, on your way to enlightenment, carry chop wood and carry water. And then when you become enlightened,
Mm.
chop wood and carry water.
Yeah.
Keep doing it.
I mean, it's like that's why I love the Buddha story because he was born into wealth and like royalty at that time, and he didn't find any meaning or purpose in it. So he escaped and became homeless for years and didn't find meaning or purpose in that either.
Mm-hmm.
So then he sat under the tree and started to find meaning and purpose in just sitting still and being present.
Totally. Yeah. Do you have a connection with Buddhism?
I have a connection with all religions. I just tell people I believe in universal consciousness, if that's a thing. I believe in energies. I was raised Christian, but I think religion is just kind of like it's all connected and we just have different labels for it.
Yeah.
That's my belief. I'm definitely not atheist. I was atheist for like a couple years in my early 20s, in my liberal years. And yeah, I feel like it's hard to find meaning and purpose when you're atheist. It's like everything has to be rationalized,
Mm.
everything has to have evidence, but some things just don't have evidence, you know? Everything begins as a theory in like in science and anything. And sometimes you just have to have faith.
You said it, man. Yo, because faith is when you don't have the evidence. So it's really hard.
Mm-hmm. It's
It's
exactly
hard to
that, yeah.
practice faith when you're looking, when you're always skeptical, when you need to see it before you believe it. I was in a similar boat, man.
Mm-hmm.
I would say I was atheist, agnostic, whatever title you want to put on it, through most of my 20s. And it was when different experiences started happening to me from 30 onward is where faith really came in. And I feel faith is directly linked to the heart. And you're either in the
Mm-hmm.
mind all the time, which makes a lousy leader. But if the mind's following the heart is connected to our true wisdom, to spirit, source energy, whatever you want to call it, God, faith. So it it's like, how could you even practice the gifts of the unknown like with no faith? It's what I learned along my journey. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's hard. It's like how can you believe in nothing and have faith? It's kind of like
Yeah.
impossible.
Yeah.
To me, the first thing I think of is like, how do you accomplish anything?
How so?
Because it's like you have to, because it's like you have to believe that you can do it,
Hmm.
right? Like if you have a goal, you have to believe that you can accomplish that goal, right? That's having faith in that in yourself that you can accomplish that
Yeah.
goal.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So it's like contradicting, kind of.
totally. And everybody wants to be better and like embody this new version of themselves, but that version of themselves is unknown because we haven't experienced it yet. So to be able to
Mm,
experience something unknown, greater, or outside of us, then it's going to take circumstances and things that are outside of what our imagination can predict for ourselves. It's like
mm-hmm,
outside of
mm,
everything that we know, which I feel is like that's also faith. Faith is so expansive, like spirit is so expansive that we're just this little speck of sand in it all. So without that kind of optimistic mindset, like I'm willing to connect with the unknown to find out like who I am there, it can become very like you're just operating in this little box. Okay, everything I know, and I'll just keep placing my life, based on this little bit that I know, and there's not a lot of room for growth there. Yeah.
yeah. Have you heard that saying where it's like we're we're not a the world like in the universe. We're just a uh, water drop in like we're just a water drop and we're inside the water drop.
Yeah. Like, and connected like the water drop within an ocean. I've heard that one. Um,
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that. Like we're like the water drop within the ocean. We're not the entire.
Yeah, and I've also heard that then the whole ocean is inside that water drop as well. Like I've heard it both ways. I've heard it both ways. It's like one puts it in perspective like I'm just this little bit in something that's so much bigger than me, but because I'm water
Mm-hmm.
and the ocean is water, ocean being metaphorical for universe or all that exists,
Mm-hmm.
um, I'm able to connect with it because I'm made from it, but then vice versa. It's like, and the whole source of all of creation is inside of me. The ocean is also inside the water drop, which means that I have access to all of it as well if I allow myself to. That's how I interpret it.
That's how I feel about spirituality, like and God and the universe is that we're all connected and we could connect with each other through, I don't know, just through what we do and how we show up in life.
Totally. Where I'm curious, where did your beliefs or your way of going about it start to switch from being agnostic or whatever to a
It was
spirituality?
definitely it was definitely when I started meditating. I think when I was just looking within and finding myself and quieting the mind and reading a lot and listening to personal development podcasts and inspiring stories. I think that's what started to open me up. But it's definitely when I was quieting the mind aspect of it.
Yeah, yeah. And did you notice anything in your life shifting as you were quieting your mind?
I think for me, I just I started to see life as like I stopped taking it so seriously, I guess. And also I stopped letting external things affect me as much. So if like I don't know, like if you hear stories of like your family or whatever saying like you can't do anything or how are you ever going to do that or just any type of like negative limiting beliefs, I just wouldn't let that get to me as much anymore.
Mm, yeah. Would you say that you started to discover like more of who you were along that way? Like were there beliefs that changed, um, passions that changed, things that you were interested in? I'm always curious in
I
people's
mean,
journeys.
during that time, I was 24, so about 6 years ago. I was still growing a lot. I was completely different than who I was today. And I've been through a bunch more. Um, so I would say I'm a lot different than who I was back then. But yeah, what started it was just meditating.
Yeah. And like why? Why'd you start meditating? Did you hear it from someone? Did you read a book where you're like, let me just see what happens if I start doing this?
um, I think it was a podcast because the first what got me into podcasting was so when I was in the Navy and I was on shore duty. Shore duty is basically when you don't go on deployments anymore. You're just like working in a regular office job setting. When I was on shore duty, I had so much more time than I did when I was out to sea all the time. Like I had time for myself. Like it was kind of just like a normal like 9 to 5 type of job. And during this time, I was like, what am I gonna do with like all this damn time that I have with myself? So that's when I started reading and trying to. I was going on this like hustle culture vibe, trying to like make more money and do all kinds of crap, and that led me to real estate and like how you can make a crap ton of money real estate investing. And the first podcast I listened to was called Bigger Pockets. They're just huge on real estate investing. It's kind of like they just connect with anybody who's real estate invested in real estate, and they go over how they did it and like how much money they make. But from there, that's when I started to listening to a bunch of different podcasts, and that's when I've always just wanted to grow and learn and never cap myself and have this open mindset. And I don't know what podcast it was, but they were just like, yeah, meditation has helped like me gain more clarity and meaning in life. And I started with Headspace. Have you heard
Yeah,
of
yeah, I
Headspace?
have.
I started, yeah, I had that. I downloaded the app and just really like dove deep into it like every day. Just, it was like 10 to 20 minute guided meditations every day. And I just started to feel like more at peace with myself.
Hmm.
I don't know what it is. It's just like it's like this feeling of like just like you're okay with where you're at in life. There's no pressures or expectations. It's just you're just living, doing the best you can.
Yeah, as I was thinking about it, you literally said the words right out of my mouth, like you're okay. And I remember it
Mm,
was a similar way for me. It started with meditation, and once I began to actually feel what peace was, and like I was okay, it's like I didn't want to let anybody
yeah.
or anything take that away from me. And then it
Mm,
became my highest value, my highest priority. And I've always said, like, no matter what happens, if I lose my peace, it's not worth it. So everything gets to be centered around cultivating and nurturing my inner peace as best I can. You know, we'll always get off track, but I'm thinking about it in this moment. You know, this conversation just has me like pondering, like, where do values come from? And because I was like, I wonder if if peace was a value for you before. I know for me, it was like I didn't know what it was. I was only experiencing the
yeah.
opposite of peace. Once I got it,
I didn't know what it
yeah,
was
right.
either. Yeah, and I'm still tested every I guess day for me personally because I don't want to get too into it, but I have a toxic baby mama, and she's on her own personal growth journey, but just somebody that is very past oriented, like they're so focused on what happened in the past that they forget to live here in the now. And it might be trauma based or whatever, but it's like I think when you're so focused on what happened in the past, you forget to live now and live for what like a better future or change like right now. What can you do right now to be better? And yeah, I'm tested with my peace with that every time we communicate. So
Yeah, sounds like it's your teacher. Sounds like it's your tool, like sharpening. It's like the grindstone to sharpen the knife
yeah, it's
on.
an
Yeah.
opportunity. Yeah, it's every time it's an opportunity for me to like let me not get triggered by this. Let me reflect on it. Like, how can I show up not so heightened by my emotions? Like things like that.
You also feel like someone who has a natural, peaceful energy is kind of how I feel.
I get that a lot from a lot of my uh, guests. I don't know what it is.
Well, it's man, it's so valuable to have that as a quality, like inherently, because I feel I have that too, and I find that it helps ground people who have a hard time coming
Mm,
into that. But also, I don't know if this is true for your situation. Often that can trigger someone who doesn't naturally feel that, so they can always want to be coming
mm,
at you because it's like pushing a button. It's having them become aware.
poking
It's
the
poking
bear.
the bear. They're like, why are you so calm and peaceful, like it's a problem or something? And
Yeah,
then
no, that's so true. Yeah,
yeah,
It's like, wait, like I want to get a reaction out of you type of
Yeah,
thing. That's what toxic people will do. Like toxic and manipulative people, they want to get a reaction out of you, and if they can't, they get frustrated, and they go in their own circle of their own mind.
yeah. It's really like in a way, an awakening for them too. I mean, I feel like there's always a line where we need to separate those people
Mm-hmm.
and maintain our peace and not, take on energy
Mm-hmm.
vampires. But it for sure illuminates some light on their darkness. So then that gets like brought up in them, and if they're conscious enough, then they get to work with it. But if not, they
Yeah, you
stay
have
in
to
a
be
cycle. Yeah,
self-aware.
and then they don't even know what they're doing. Right? Yeah.
That's another big thing for me when I started meditating. I was becoming way more self-aware
Yeah.
of like how I show up in the world and how my actions can impact the world around me.
What's like an example of that in like a domain of your life where maybe you had that awareness?
I think it's just having that emotional control in certain conversations where, like, for example, like today, we have so much division in the world, like politically, whatever. And a good example would be like to talk about something that I disagree with, but not getting so emotionally attached to being right or uh, having the right answer or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's a big one in the political world, man. I don't talk politics with anyone. First of all, it's just not my thing. But
Yeah, I don't
yeah.
either. I don't like to.
Well, it shines a light on where people are attached to being right. And I say like it's never anything on the outside. Like people think it's the politics, or they think it's the weather, or they think it's the traffic, or they think it's whatever that's poking the bear, but it's really just this part of themselves that they haven't looked at yet, that wants to be right because maybe they were wrong somewhere in their life. Or I feel like a lot of people just can be addicted to the drama, right, or the entertainment.
Oh yeah, that's so true. People get addicted to the emotions that they feel when they're in this heightened state.
Yeah. I'm curious, like what would you say to someone who is seeking like guidance on that? Like as someone who's become a little more emotionally calm within himself, or someone who like doesn't want to let their emotions get the best of them, what would you say?
Fucking breathe, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you'll probably notice that you're shallow breathing, your heart rate is kind of elevated. Take a step back, fucking take a big ass inhale, hold it for a second, and then blow it out slowly and just look at the sky. Go for a walk,
Mm,
uh, disconnect. These are things that help us ground ourselves in self awareness and how a lot of these petty shit in the world, it doesn't really matter. You know,
yeah.
that's what I would tell them.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I do that breath too. But you've reminded me too. Are you at all familiar with psychedelic plant work like ayahuasca or mushrooms or anything like that?
Man, that's another bucket
All
list
right.
thing of me. Like, I gotta make more money because I wanna. That's one of my reasons to like make more money. I guess is to just experience the world
Hmm.
more. It's not so much like I wanna Gucci whatever cars and like I don't care about that shit. I care more about like spending more time with the loved ones, experiencing things with friends, seeing the world more versus like I want to make money because I want a Lamborghini.
Totally. Yeah, beautiful.
But yeah, I've that's one of my bucket list
Oh,
things. I want to go to like the jungle somewhere.
I can help you with that one day, man. I have a bit of experience in that realm, and I was living on and off in Peru for the last 2 years before I just came back to the States. So part of my journey started in 2018. I went to a 10-day retreat in the jungle with ayahuasca, and had
Mm,
many experiences after that as well. But I remember one time I was in an experience. This was actually with Wachuma, which is also known as San Pedro. It's a little different. It's from a cactus, and all these plants will really bring up um, all of your emotions and traumas and perceptions and the way you look at things. It brings up everything that you need to deal with, the things you can't even see. And I remember I got in this, I was in this really deep state where I was in some trauma, and I was like a mess and in tears and hyperventilating. Not to scare anybody, like it's not
mm,
like, yeah, that'll happen to you. It's many. It could be beautiful too. I was just facing something personal, and I couldn't get out of it in my mind. And my teacher,
mm.
the shaman at the time, said to me, she's like, Mike, find an ally. And she was looking up at nature, like a tree or a bird or the sky or the breeze. And I never looked at it that way. And I said, ah, yeah, an ally, a friend. They're all around me. So I was focusing on like the way the sun was coming through the leaves and the breeze and the physical connection through my senses of that actually helped take me out of my mind and ground me into my body. And I've always carried it with me since, like in everyday life, plant medicine or no plant medicine. If I'm outside and I'm like, my mind's going, I'm like, Mike, find an ally, look around, they're everywhere. It's just what you said, like ground
Mm.
yourself in nature, or something that's being provided naturally for me right now. And it works.
It's something about it.
Yeah.
I don't know what it
Well, the
is.
frequency of nature is the frequency of us. I mean, we come from nature, we come from the
Mm,
planet. Our nature works the same as nature, even though that people forget that. And I feel that there's a lot of depression in our culture, especially because people are so disconnected from the land of which we came from. And this is something that Peru and places like
mm,
Bolivia, they taught me a lot. Out there, the people are very connected to the land. They live their life according to like the laws of nature. They look at these mountains as sacred spirits that are guiding their lives. And because that connection is strong within them, their energy holds that calm kind of like flowing energy of nature. But here we are, we're walking around in like rubber shoes, disconnected on our phones, trying to get promotions, grinding. So like,
well, it's like we're connected, but we're disconnected at the same time.
yeah, yeah, you got to consciously connect. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
What um what else did you experience? Because you said you went through 4 years of traveling, and this was during
hmm
2020. But I guess before we get into that, did you see like any crazy shit when you're ayahuasca? Like, did you hallucinate or
I
anything?
think it's different for everybody. It is a plant medicine that brings a lot of hallucinations and visuals, but for me personally, I don't typically get the visuals and the hallucinations. The way that it works with me is it really connects me to what I would call my higher self, like my spirit
Mm,
outside of my body. That's here all the time, but that really holds all the wisdom beyond what person Mike can see in his mind. And so what happens for me is it becomes like a channel where these this wisdom and these questions and these insights about myself come through, for me to look at. And I've had some crazy
mm.
experiences of purging. Like, you go in with a bucket, you're puking into a bucket.
Oh, you throw.
Yeah, and they call it getting well, because what it's doing is the plant's going inside, and it's like looking at all of the imbalanced energy, and places where energy and emotions have been stuck, where we never processed them from traumas or experiences, and it's bringing it all up. And in that process, you can often experience that energy, so it can be challenging. But then you purge it, and that can be through laughing, sweating, crying, vomiting. And
Uh,
once it comes out of you into the bucket, it's a very positive thing, because now you walk away and your body is lighter, your energy is
You feel
lighter, you feel
like
so good,
let go.
like you let go, like you could spend 20 years in therapy not getting to the bottom of something, and in one night of ayahuasca potentially you can process it, purge it, and move on from it.
No, that's the one thing that I disagree with therapy about. I guess it really depends on your how good your therapist
Yeah,
is, but I think one downside of therapy is that it could exacerbate your current state of mind. Like if you're constantly in this negative thought pattern and you're just venting to a therapist and they're not really guiding you in a way that's productive,
yeah,
it could be just like that 20 years of just venting your negativity on.
yeah. And the more you speak into something, you hook your energy into it. You stay there and create more of it. Totally.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I agree with
Yeah,
that.
man.
But what so 4 years of just
Yeah.
traveling. What did you see? What was your favorite place? What'd you do?
Whew. Well, 4 years, I could talk forever about this, but see if I can.
What are like some of the key memories
Yeah.
that you remember?
Man, this was the greatest gift of my life. Um, I just find nothing more valuable than traveling. I feel like it is the greatest, true, grounded, realistic education that we can get. I read this quote that was on a poster in my wall in Vietnam that I just love that said, "The world is a book, and those who don't travel only read one page." So for me, it was like getting out of my known environment and dropping all of the titles, who I think I was, and how I had to show up, and just allowing the world, the unknown, all these cultures and ways and people to mold me. And nature, I fell in love with nature during travel. Completely transformed me into somebody new, right? Brought me closer to who I always was in my heart, reignited that passion. So I went through, basically, I started in the Western United States and I just hiked national parks for 4 months. And that was like such a good detoxer from the corporate world. I noticed that my mind was so programmed to always be doing and being productive that it took me just
Mhm.
literally hiking in nature to just like let that start to undo itself. Some of the
Mm.
highlight places where I was, Bolivia and Peru really brought me into indigenous cultures and showed me a spirituality that's very connected to the earth, which we don't have a lot of here
Mm.
in the US. So I got to work with different
Yeah, we don't.
shamans and healers and like really like anchoring into the power of the land. Um, but I was everywhere, man. I also lived a monk style lifestyle for
But
three
you did.
months. Yeah, I ended up in a Hare Krishna temple in France. I could probably talk about that one. That's one of the most profound things. Maybe because I could circle back around to that. But and also I got to go like to Southeast Asia, to Vietnam. I deeply believe in changing our bloodline and healing cultural things and things that have come through our lineage. So my dad was in the Vietnam War,
Mm.
and I went to Vietnam literally to heal that for my family and to like make friends with whoever I could there and bring this new energy of a new generation and really enjoy it. Vietnam was incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of hard because like not to bring up like war and like negativity or anything, but often many soldiers and people in the military, we don't even know why we're fighting. So it's like sometimes you're forced into fighting an opposition that you don't even have any resentment towards, but you're here killing people that you don't even know, that you don't want to kill or you don't hate them, but here you are fighting.
Dude, I think what you just said is so important. And look, someone who wasn't in the military himself, I can't speak as being in the shoes of someone who was, but I have a father who has post-traumatic stress syndrome that has
Mm,
altered his life in so many ways. And when I asked him why he went, it was originally to make a buck. He said they were going to pay me, and he was going through things and just lost his parents, and he was like, I'll just, and he wasn't even supposed to fight. He was like drawing maps for the
mm,
Air Force, but he got caught up in something that he didn't see. And I too
mm,
feel just what you said, that especially when you're young and you haven't really had time to really ground into like what's important or even uncover that in your life, it's
mm,
easy to make quick decisions. And man, when I was traveling, I got to go to like the War Memorial Museum in Vietnam. I was in Hiroshima in Japan at that memorial where the atomic bomb was dropped. I was in Israel at the Holocaust Museum. And these were all places that just were so emotionally moving because they show like so much detail on the walls of these museums and what happened. And you see the things that go on in war that people don't know about, and like what you give your life to, right, when you don't even know, like it could just
mm,
be what the politics are telling you from the top line, but you don't
mm,
know really what their why is or what they're doing behind the scenes.
mm.
So I feel like anytime, at least for me in my life, anytime I could bring a little bit of like healing or love to that, like I just spent time in prayer, like in Hiroshima, like in this place where the bomb dropped, just seeing the horror, and I'm just like throwing prayers on the ground. I'm just like, wow, I can't believe 140,000 people died here, because of one quick decision. It's wild. It's heavy stuff. Not to
Yeah,
not to bring in the
it all.
heaviness, but yeah,
No, but like that's a big point in the world we live in today, which is why uh like I don't like talking about politics, but it's like politics is kind of what controls the world. And it's like we're forced to kind of understand it to a base level. Um, but that's what caused all of it, politics. It was like why did we fight against, why was there a world war? Politics and power and like divisiveness, just like that's one of the root
yeah.
problems. It's like if we could solve that, then more people will have an opportunity to heal or move on with life.
And what do you think could be a way to shine, to like, not to solve that? That's like a huge question, right? But
The
like
conspiracy
something to
theory.
maybe shine some light on people. Anybody gives,
Man,
yeah,
compassion, love, understanding, acceptance of our diversity, like especially in America today with the wokeism and woke culture, it's like you want me to believe what you believe, even though like um it may not align with who I am and what I believe, but then you attack me for it. Just don't attack me for it. Just accept and understand that we have different opinions and we don't have to attack each other for it. It's kind of like agreeing to disagree, but only one side is agreeing to
yeah,
disagree, and then and they're not. But just being okay and accepting our differences.
yeah, yeah. And also, it's like, have you ever had a moment where you might have looked back on something you did in your life, whether it was an interaction with someone or the way that you acted, and been like, well, I probably could have handled that a little better. Maybe I let
Yeah,
my emotions get the best of me. Like,
always.
I know I've had
Mhm.
that, right? So, like, I too feel like with a lot of what you're talking about, much of the world is so quick um, to stand for what they feel is the way and the correct thing, and then put it on everyone else. And then some time goes
Yeah,
by,
yeah.
and some of these same people are like, you know what, maybe I could have acted different. Maybe it wasn't what I thought. Like in the Vietnam War
Mm,
Museum, you see the General McNamara, I think his name was, who sent the U.S. over there to interrupt communism or what they thought they were doing. Like 20 years after the war, he was like, we probably shouldn't have done it. We probably shouldn't have gone. And I'm going through this country, and on one of these tours, they told me, they said, listen, America lost 1/10 of their army in this war, but Vietnam lost 1/10 of the people in their country. And then everything that even stemmed from that, from like the different crop dusting of poisons and stuff that they like Agent Orange that they use as weapons.
yeah,
There's been dysmorphia to babies born. There's I could go on and on. There's just so much that comes
yeah,
from this decision when someone's like, this is it, this is the way, and there's no like time to pause to really think about, is this it? Yeah.
yeah. That's another thing the political world should do is just pause and think before we make
Yeah,
decisions. But there's only so much like the individuals can do,
sure.
and that's what I would tell somebody if you're an individual. Just have more understanding and compassion for our differences and accept them, and don't feel the need to be an activist for what you believe in.
Yeah, yeah. And I still think it starts with the individual because even all these rulers,
Mm.
dictators, people who go to war, I really feel that these actions are just coming from somewhere within them when they were younger and love was
Mm.
withheld or they
Yeah.
felt less than or whatever. Now it's like this grown thing that's gotten out of hand of got to overprove myself and compensate. And now I'm going to go to
100%.
war
Yeah.
because of it. So like I feel when we do the work on our own one at a time, you never know who you're affecting down that future line, who could be in a position where they have a big responsibility of decisions like that. Yeah.
Mm. So you say faith over fear
Hmm.
and find joy in transformation. So how do we do that? How do
Okay.
you do
Good question. Well,
that?
man, I think the joy comes back to what you said earlier in the podcast about how fun and joy is an important value to you because it takes away this expectation of, and whatever words you said it, like the pressure of like I need to do this, be this.
Yeah, the expectation of achieving or being somebody.
Yeah, that's it. I think you nailed it with that, and that's what's coming up now is like expectation kills the joy. Even if you think you're going to
Mm,
be joyous when you get there, it's usually short lived and you're still back with
mm,
dealing with yourself. So, um, for me, it's like, listen, if I'm going to do anything, it might as well be fun because fun and joy makes it softer. It takes away the pressure. It opens up your channels energetically. It opens up your mind. Like when you're having fun with something, like I like to dance. So often something I've noticed recently is if I'm just sitting at my desk and I'm thinking about something and I'm like, how do I get this done? Or what do I need to change in my life? Or I'm trying to create a program. That energy of like sitting there and trying and like I need to come up with something. Oh, this is hard. Oh, how many hours do I have? Everything I'm going to create from that energy is going to bring that energy into the thing that I create. It
uh,
all starts with the energy. Now, if I get up and I'm like, all right, let me move around. I'm like, Mike, yo, this is fun, man. I'll spit a little freestyle, have some fun. I'm like, I'm about to come up with this dope ass workshop. I'm about to whatever. Then I sit down. That energy goes into the thing that I want to create. Now, I
mm,
want more fun and joy in my life and in the world. So I feel often people make transformation and personal growth as like this job that has to be like hard and tedious and suffering when really like God, spirit, source, energy, like doesn't want us to be so hard on ourselves. It's like, yo, human, like
Mhm.
have some fun in what you're doing so that the thing is actually worth it, you know? I would
Yeah.
say that with the joy piece and the fun piece. With faith over fear, there's so many things that can be said about fear, but I feel like one approach is to make fear your friend and take the perspective of, rather than, oh my God, this terrible thing is going to happen to me, like, where's the fear guiding me? What's it showing me? It's actually my buddy, because fear is guiding us. Usually our breakthrough is on the other side of fear. It's
Mhm.
outside the comfort zone, and we're just scared of getting outside our comfort zone. But I heard this great
Mhm.
quote the other day. I think it was on a podcast, and the guy was saying, he's like, the unknown, most people fear the unknown, but really all the unknown is you. It's you're going to experience who you are in the unknown in a different way than you're going to experience who you are here. So rather than going to like, what are all the bad things that are going to happen in the unknown? It's just
Yeah.
like, I'm going to get to be and experience myself in a new evolved way in the unknown. That can be exciting. Now, the fear is naturally going to be there because it's going to take some letting go of who I think I am and not knowing what's ahead of me. But the faith comes in knowing, okay, I can't see where it's going to go, but my faith and belief that I'm cared for, I'm guided, um, I have faith in myself, like I'm going to show myself something new when I take a bold action. The fear, I feel like, is actually pointing the arrow in the right direction. So how can I make it my friend? A buddy of mine also says, he's like, listen, all you need is 51% faith, 49% fear, because fearless is not
Mhm.
having fear. It's just a little less fear and enough faith to walk you through it. Feel the fear anyway, because the fear is actually the transformational tool. It's like the grindstone
Mhm.
that's going to sharpen your knife, and allow that to pull and guide you through. So I really see fear as this teacher, this great helper.
And then that's basically just having courage,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Simply put.
And what came to my mind is we're afraid of the unknown, but we could be certain that we'll be a different person afterwards.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's like if you're so afraid of the unknown, how about just focus on the certainty that you'll experience something new and you'll be a different person after you experience it.
yeah. 100%, man. And also, all of our experiences, if we consciously use them as feedback, they're all just redirecting us closer to our true path. If you experience something and it's like, this isn't working, okay, it's not it. It's this way. You know what I mean? And so,
Mm,
and then what you said about courage, I love that, because yes, like courage, but and you can't convince yourself to be courageous up here. Courage only comes through the experience of taking the
mm,
action. And if I really want to believe that I'm a courageous person, then as a human in this body, I need some evidence to tell me that I'm courageous. How do you get the evidence? You have to actually do the thing and have the experience to be like, wow, I made it and I'm okay. And I'm this new version of myself, like you said. Now I've got some evidence that when I'm courageous, it works. And I am courageous, if that makes
mm.
sense.
Yeah, and that could keep you
Yeah.
going for a really long time.
Yeah, totally, totally. Have you like what have you learned about fear and faith? I mean, you just shared a lot right here, but are there any moments where you really like feared something and stepped through it?
This is funny. This is like both of our podcasts now.
I'm just a curious guy, man. I could lay back on the questions a little bit.
No, I'm curious too. That's my
Yeah.
motto at the end of my show. I always say, "Stay curious." Um, What was the
I was just
question
curious,
again?
like if like what you've learned from fear. If there was like a moment where.
Oh yeah, exactly that. Just um, I even made a post about it. Like on the other side of fear is
Mm,
growth. Fear is an opportunity to grow. So anything you're afraid of, do it because through that fear, through doing it and having courage, it's inevitable that you're going to grow through it. So if you want to grow in whatever in life, anything that you want to do, name one thing that you're afraid of and just do it and you're going to grow.
mm, yeah, I like that. I like that. Um, that mentor of mine, Nick, also says like if
Yeah.
ask yourself, am I going to die when I feel the fear? And if you're not going to die, then the fear
Oh
is
yeah.
like
Let's see.
not
Yeah.
real, and that there's like the good kind of fear, which is like if you're walking through a bad neighborhood or a parking lot alone at night, and
Oh
you
yeah.
have some fear, you got to kind of check over your shoulder. Like that's the good fear that protects you. But if it's a fear that is stopping you from going after your dreams or making a move that's important to you, then that's the disservice of the
That's
fear.
the yeah, but that's the crazy thing is our brain doesn't know the difference
Yeah,
between those like a tiger is trying to attack me and this imagination that we're creating in our own head.
yeah, yeah,
But to me, I think you could learn so much through just doing uh, what you're afraid of, especially about yourself and what you want, like what you don't like, things like that. You won't discover if you don't do things you're afraid of.
totally. Yeah, fear's like probably the number one tool to help you discover yourself if you really want to go about it that way.
Yeah, like I was saying for this podcast, like I was afraid to start this podcast. Um, it was nerve wracking, but I did it, and now I love to do
Yeah, getting those reps in. Same thing for
it.
me. Yeah,
Forever, man. I'll be doing this. I'm gonna be doing this for a long time.
yeah.
So hopefully, like one of my goals is millions of
Mm,
subscribers. So you have to be doing it for a while to get there.
sure. You're gonna have that big studio set up with all the lights and the crew and the green room for your guests.
No, yeah, for real. That's a goal of mine. But it's like I know these goals they're just fleeting and it's just part of the journey
Hmm.
and I'm just gonna keep doing what I like to do.
Yeah, good for you, man.
But let's play this
Okay.
game. Share something that's changed your worldview about my relationship with my body.
Ooh.
I don't know if that makes sense, but these combine.
Share something that's changed your worldview with my relationship to my body.
Yeah.
Okay. Is this a question for me? Okay. All right. I got.
Yeah, I mean, we could both answer it. I don't usually answer it,
Okay.
but we
Yeah.
answer it if
Let's
you
do it. Let's do it. Who goes first?
share something that's changed my worldview about my relationship with my body. Hmm. I think just being healthier in general, um, and understanding that everybody's different, I guess, helps me have more compassion for everybody who's, I don't know, struggling with weight or struggling with health issues. Um, I think that's something that's changed my worldview
Mm,
of just being like a health and fitness person myself, um, having more compassion for people who struggle with that all throughout the world.
beautiful.
I think that's something that I could say.
Cool. Cool. So important. So important. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Let's
It's
see.
kind of hard,
Yeah, I'm
huh?
trying to think of which way to go. I think I would say, okay. I think overall, one of the main things that my journey has taught me through many experiences of trial and error is how important my energy is in keeping it clean, keeping it optimal, maintaining that, really
Mm,
treating my body as a true temple. What that
mm,
does for my life and everything else that I interact with. Because if my energy is low or stifled, or I'm caught up in some vices or bad habits that are like depleting my body and my spirit, then my experience of what I'm trying to accomplish feels like banging my head against a wall. When I'm in my optimal energy,
mm,
everything flows. It's smooth. The creative ideas come. I feel like I'm way more potent and effective. And so it's food for me. My relationship with food for sure has changed. My relationships with stimulants. I try to do less coffee. A big one, a
mm,
vulnerable piece, man, is sexual energy. This is a whole nother topic, a whole nother
mm.
podcast. Like, I've learned how to harness that energy and move it through my body with different breathing and circulation. And it's
Yeah.
learning how I've learned how to like bring optimal life force to my body, and then seeing like how I crash when I don't do that. So now I can look at
Mm,
the world and kind of see where people are very caught up in the mind and kind of external things to make them feel better. And I could see where their energy is at, though. And I can see that they're very
mm,
depleted, or they're like overworking in the mind, or caught up in vices. And so it's taught me that us as humans, our energy is like the most important thing for our vitality. And then everything else comes after that. And it's something I want to help people with.
no, that's so true. I didn't think of that. Another thing that I thought of is like how when you start to take care of your body, how it can affect other people.
Yeah.
Like if somebody, let's say somebody was fat or overweight, whatever, and they lost all the weight and they got healthy and now their relationship with their body is healthier, that could inspire somebody else in the world to do something about it.
Yeah, totally, right. And it's often without us even saying anything. It's just like when we're taking care of ourselves, people notice. They see
Mm-hmm.
you eating well, and they're like, "Huh, like I wonder if I did that. Maybe I'll be inspired by him." Totally. Yeah,
Well, Mike, you ready for these last
sure.
questions?
Let's do it.
What is your biggest regret?
Oof, didn't see that one coming. Okay, my biggest regret. All right, you know where my mind immediately wanted to go, but I'm going to tell you why. It wanted to go back to high school football, and wishing
Mm,
that I caught those balls. But in saying that, I can't really regret that. That's where my
yeah.
subconscious mind wanted to go to change something. But the Mike who knows better and knows that that was just part of my path to evolve, I got what I needed. Something I would have more control over, I would say, is I wouldn't have taken so long to leave my job in the corporate world to pursue my dream of traveling. I allowed fear and not really engaging in ways that I could do it. I just allowed myself to sit there for many years, and parts of me deteriorated. And I could have closed the gap in that time a little bit more. I could have even have cut it in half, spent half the time there, and then gone out to pursue this dream earlier and gotten on to more of my life. But in even saying that, I really try to live with no regrets, man. It all taught me what it needed to.
I do say people who don't have regrets I asked him this follow-up question. What would you what would be your deathbed regret? Like if you like had one day to live, and what would be your regret of something that you didn't do
Yeah.
before
Yeah,
that?
I think about this often, and for me, I want to be on my deathbed with no what ifs. So everything that was ever a hunch to me of something important that I wanted for myself,
Mm-hmm.
I want to be on my deathbed and know that I went for it with all of my ability and heart, no matter how it turned out. So traveling the world, that was the biggest one. Now it's becoming a transformational speaker, which I am, but I'm creating that career. If I don't do something like that, then and I die knowing that I left it out, rocks
Mm.
unturned. That would just freaking eat at me, man. Even when I'm going out to like approach a pretty girl, right? I think about that, and my buddy,
Are you
I am
single?
single, yeah. And I'm like, listen, like if you're on your deathbed, you're gonna think back and you're gonna be like, at least I went for it. At least I found out, you know?
Yeah, they always say just shoot your shot.
Shoot your shot.
That's like the saying, man.
I'll
Shoot your shot.
summarize that whole thing into what you just said. I want to know I shot my shot when I'm on my deathbed.
No, that's important. I think that just goes right back to the fear, like because a lot of people are afraid to shoot their shot, that they don't even give themselves a
Yeah,
chance.
absolutely, man. Good question.
Next question is, who or what has made the biggest impact in your life that makes you who you are today?
The immediate person that comes to mind was my therapist when I was about 30, 31 years old. Now, she was a very special type of person. She had many talents, um, but this is the person I call her my earth angel because she helped me open my heart. I came to her in a time when I was moving like 120 miles an hour in my head and in my life. And I didn't know what self love was. And she sensed it in me. And she worked really hard with me for a couple of years to open my heart. And she loved me in a way that I received one kind of love from my parents, but this woman like loved me back to loving myself in a way that nobody ever had. And it was from that moment that everything else happened in my new life. And I believe that self love and learning to love ourselves is the most important practice. And so when you asked me that question, that's who came into my mind. Her name is Tamara.
Yeah, that's the impact a good therapist could
Mm,
have.
yeah,
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 because it took me like 3 or 4 therapists to finally find one that I resonated with when I was going through a divorce and like battling infidelity and stuff like that. Uh, yeah, but when you find one that you can actually, I guess, confide in
mm,
to, uh, and dig deep into into your head about things that you're afraid to talk, I think that could really help.
yeah, yeah. And I feel like when we find a person who's just like willing to love on us and sit with
Mm,
us in our pain, even if like
yeah,
answers aren't coming up, this is just something like that I noticed that she did for me. I felt like I like finally had somebody there that was just listening, that was just like loving even when she didn't say anything. And it took me many
mm,
years to realize what that did for me. I didn't see it till later, but I was like, wow, that just that was what I needed.
it's like having patience and helping you process through your own
Yeah,
head.
totally.
How do you
I
feel
feel
now?
good, man. I feel very open. I feel like ready to take on my day. I feel like my cup got filled here on this podcast. We had a great conversation and love the way that it flowed, man. I really appreciate the opportunity, and a nice deep talk like this gives me fuel to like go out and take on the rest of my
Mm,
day.
me
Yeah.
too. I think that's why I'm a
Yeah, that would
podcaster.
make sense. That would make sense. Totally.
uh, my next question is, what is one lesson that you had to learn the hard way?
Good question. A lesson that I had to learn the hard way. Okay, I got one. There's a relationship coming to mind, and my lesson would be that maintaining my center and my purpose, meaning being connected to something that is important to me, that I'm building, for myself as an expression of myself, and maintaining my centered within my body, my energy, my minds, all of my being is more important than anything else, because if I'm not there, again, like I was talking about with energy, everything can collapse when I'm not in my center with myself. I was in a relationship that I jumped into that I actually like moved countries for, because I really the
Mm,
young Mike was still battling with some wounds of like, I really want to feel love and love someone in a relationship. I've never experienced it, so I kind of went in head over heels for somebody. I went really fast, and I ended up in a situation where everything was kind of working against me. I was in an environment that was making me anxious and miserable, and a lot emerged within our relationship that was no good, that was pretty toxic. And
mm-hmm,
at the end of it, I said, wow, I gave up everything that I had and that I was building to jump into this person's life when they already had a full career, a home where they lived. I like went to adapt myself to their life and to like bleed into their life
mm,
when I abandoned everything I was working on for myself. And the result was I felt all over the place. I felt unsafe. I felt trapped. I felt like I couldn't get out of there. I lost a lot of my health, and I had to move back countries and come back to Peru where I was before, and come back to all that I was building, in my kingdom within me there. So I said, never again. I said, if I get into a relationship, it's going to add to what I'm building. We're both going to be in alignment with each other, not this one-sided thing.
mm-hmm.
I'm chasing something. And so, yeah, I learned a lot about relationships and keeping my
Oh
center there.
yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
That's why I don't regret my last toxic relationship, because it taught me so much, especially after, I don't know if you ever been cheated on with somebody that you loved, but man, that's it forces you to really like dig deep into yourself. And you go through so many insecurities at first. You go through, like, it's not linear, it's different for everybody, but for me it started with like insecurities, and then like beating myself up, like what did I do, what was wrong with me, and then you just finally start to let go and raise your standards and your values and take care of yourself and practice self-love like you're saying, and then you finally learn what you deserve and what you want with your significant other.
Yeah. It's the only way to learn. Like we could easily be like, man, I wish I didn't have that experience, but no, like we needed that experience.
Yeah, I mean, some people are blessed with finding like who their life partners early
Yeah,
on, but I think most of us have to go through the some horrible phase.
totally.
My next question is, what would you do or experience in life if you had all the time and all the money in the world?
Hmm. It's funny because I accomplished what I used to say I was gonna. It would have been travel the world for 1 year, but now it's I might even make a podcast if I had all the time and all the money. I might make a podcast and have like really cool people on, and I would just want to like create. I want to do this anyway, but just create like really cool events and retreats for people to come to and transform, but like have a really good time while they're doing it. I want to like create those all over the world. I want to travel now, from a place of purpose. Like if I go somewhere, it's going to be because I'm going there to co-create with somebody or speak on a stage or, contribute to like a community or a program. So, if it was unlimited, I would just be doing that. I'd be traveling like in that way, creating like dope ass shit while I go for people to join.
It reminds me of Tony Robbins a little bit.
Okay.
He
Why is
reminds me
that?
of because that's what he
Ah,
does. His you heard of his like what Unleash the Power Within and
yeah,
Date with Destiny and what other like huge events that he does, stuff like
yeah.
that. It reminds me of that.
Yeah, like I really just want to help people like evolve, but have fun doing it. Like fun, like we've talked about several times. It's just so
Mm-hmm.
important for me. So like, what's better than going to have a great time while becoming the person you want to become?
While
While growing
growing
it.
and
Yeah,
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 like not so serious about it all the
yeah,
time.
yeah. And I want to take people to these places in the world where I've had an opportunity to go and like on these retreats and connect with nature and be in these really like remote, cool places. I would love to bring groups out there. I've thought about bringing men's groups even just to go like spend time in these like really sacred like mountains and stuff and just talk, and go through our process.
That's one thing I was gonna say is not as relevant as it is today. Well, I think just in general, over the years of modern America, society, culture, it's hard for men to be vulnerable and to confide in each other.
Oh yeah.
How do you feel about that?
100%. It's the way most men are brought up is to hold it all together and be tough and be the caretaker and not cry and stay strong. And that takes a lot of time to unravel that. Women are naturally more able to tap into their emotions and
Mm-hmm.
feel. And for me, like feeling and vulnerability is really the way to the heart and our inner self to really feel who we are and what we want. So I think more spaces are needed for men to be able to come together and share our challenges and battles and know that we have brothers that we can go through it with together.
And not feel shame or guilt about
Oh
it.
yeah, shame and guilt's a big one for men. Big one.
It's like we look like crybabies or something,
Yeah, yeah.
or we're made fun of or whatever.
When I started working with that therapist, when she was working on my heart, that therapist, like I just started crying and crying and crying and crying. I was like, yo, where's all this coming from? And it was from years of having it just pent up, not
Mm-hmm.
allowing myself to do that. And we carry so much like pressure on our shoulders as men in society to handle so much that that stuff builds. And when you can like release it and cry and let the shame and the guilt go, we get that takes strength to do that, and it makes us stronger and more able to show up in our lives the way we want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, we need more of that.
yeah, yeah.
You should
I
create
just
something like
might. I've
that.
heard it from other people that have told me like, "Hey, you should do it." I'm a part of some men's groups, but I think that that's something that's on the horizon for me is creating like these experiences for men, to come together, to share, and to do it in a like an inspiring place where we can really like be men
Mm-hmm.
in all the ways.
Face our
Yeah,
demons.
yeah, totally.
Let it all out.
Hmm.
Well, Mike, do you have any last thing you'd like to share with whoever's listening that could impact
Mm.
them?
What comes to mind is for anybody listening, I would say, you know the way for you. You have all the inner wisdom that you need. You have your inner roadmap within you for exactly what you need in your life, where you want to go. So I would offer the invitation to focus on getting in touch with that by getting still, by playing, by getting curious about what you're interested in, and who you are, and asking those questions. And it will all reveal itself. Nobody knows your way like you know your way, whether you believe it or not.
Mike, where can people go check you out?
So the website is under construction right now, but for now, I'll give you the Instagram is the easiest place, which is Wake Up with Mike. I've got a few
Mm,
offerings up there for personal coaching, for speaking, but even just to get in touch. If you'd like to send a message because you want to know something or you just want to chat, I'm totally open and cool with that. Wake Up with Mike. I'm on Facebook as Michael Rosenberg, and yeah, that'd be the easiest.
go check them out, everybody. And as always, stay curious, never give up. You got this.
Peace,
Peace.
guys.